and they actually help my art business? Do they know what they're talking about? Can I trust them? Why did they email me so much? You've got questions, right? You're trying to figure out who we are, what we do, all that kind of stuff. And one of the best, most efficient ways to solve that, certainly that we feel like we can do as a business, is make ourselves available via Zoom calls. Let you come in, hear us talk, get into a question and answer session, and so that's what we do. Sort of how we allow folks to get to know us a little bit. So the agenda for today, being that we are seasonally approaching the ever important Q4, the fourth quarter, the last 3 months of the year, the last 3 months, which contain the holiday buying season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, run up to Christmas. There's literally no better time all year long to attempt to sell your art, more photography sold in the fourth quarter of the year than at any other time all year long. And so as a business, we start banging the drum quite significantly all the time early, to primarily motivate our customers to get in gear now, because what you do now determines how big of a Q4 you have. Have you started marketing? Have you started capturing emails? Do you let people know that you exist, that you've got art for sale, such that when the Q4 season is upon us, you're ready and you're prepared? So up top today, I've got essentially like a video session I did 2 weeks ago, a workshop on Q4 that's I've gotten a ton of really, really good feedback on. So I'm going to play that. As that thing's rolling along, you'll notice at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's this little like speech bubble looking thing, and it says chat. If you have questions as we're rolling along, you can certainly throw them in there, and I can answer those directly. Otherwise, I'll wait for the session to finish and answer any and all questions that you guys have directly. Happy to do that. Excited to do that. We've been at this Art Storefronts as a business coming up on 10 years now, and we have a little bit over 10,000 customers, and I get to see all of their data, both in terms of who's selling what, and then also tying that back in an analytical standpoint, like where are the sales coming from, what's generating them. So have a lot of experience doing this. And whether you guys ever decide to sign up for Art Storefronts or not sign up for Art Storefronts, I want you to leave with as much value as possible. Feel like you have some things that you can work on and bolt into your business as soon as you get out of here. So feel free to ask any question about anything, and I'll share some other resources and assets, some cool things that happened this week. But what we'll do is we'll get started on the video, which is going to be all about Q4. And then as soon as that's over, we'll get right into the Q&A, which I'm excited about. So let me get this thing queued up appropriately. Bear with me one sec. All right, there we go. So that's good news. That means I can pour a ton of energy into all of you guys. We got Mark McClanahan on here, and my last name's Patrick Shanahan. He and I are clearly related back in the old country somewhere, which is hilarious. Yeah, well, I'm really excited that you guys are all here. And despite the small group today, I will change absolutely nothing with the presentation. I will just get to pour more energy into you guys, your comments, your questions, your concerns. I call this thing the Q4 boot camp because Q4 is coming, but I want to rant about something else because it's top of mind and it's important to me. And it's not Instagram, but we'll talk about that in a second too. Let me get off that so it's not distracting. So I should say I've been at this business for like, I don't know, 8 years, and it was in the art industry before that. And I've been running sessions like this essentially like 3 days a week since right around the time the pandemic started. So it's got to be 50,000 artists and photographers now over the course of that entire time. We have a little bit over 10,000 customers at Art Storefronts. I get to see all their data, not only on who's selling what prices, this, that, and the other, but also like where did their traffic come from that actually led to these sales. What I've come to realize in all of that is there's only three viable ways to make it today as an artist, photographer who wants to sell their creations. Only three. And let's talk about the three. And to give it some teeth, let's just say a successful art business, I know everyone's definition of that is a little bit different, right? But for the sake of argument, let's just say a successful art business is an art business in which you have gross sales of $100,000 a year, right? Sounds like a lofty number, fine, but let's just say that. So, okay, there's only three ways to get there. Number one way, the way that everyone on this call would prefer to do, get into a gallery where all you have to do is create and they do everything else. That sounds awesome, right? Okay, let's work those numbers through. You're in a gallery, you're doing $100,000 a year in gross sales. The gallery takes 50%. So that means at the end of the day, you get $50,000 back. And because it's gross sales, then you have to subtract your studio, your materials, your trips, your tripods, your lenses, all of that, and maybe you're left with $35,000. Hardly a living wage. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier. And by the way, the number of artists that are in that situation that are selling $100,000 a year in a gallery is probably less than 1 or 2% of the total artists and photographers that are out there trying to sell their art in photography. Let's make that picture a little bit rosier and let's say $300,000. Okay, let's triple it in gross sales a year in a gallery. And with the aforementioned 50% haircut, 150, okay, you're making 100 grand a year. That's fantastic. That's less than 1%, probably less than 0.2% of artists and photographers out there. So in terms of like a viable path forward, the way that I like to explain making it in a gallery is to have that level of success that way as an artist or photographer is kind of like playing a sport versus being a professional athlete. How many people do you know play a sport? How many professional athletes do you know, right? Like the odds are just not fantastic. And the real death knell to the gallery model is you guys are all going to be artists and photographers for the rest of your life. I routinely get people on these calls in their 90s still trying to sell their art, which is amazing. And you realize it's the long game. Wherever you are, you have a ton of time left, right, to do this, God willing, of course. If you don't know who's purchasing your art and you can't market to them for the rest of your life, you don't have the ability to develop collectors. Collectors are folks that'll come back and keep buying from you again and again and again, year after year after year. And it's the lifeblood of any art business. In the gallery model, you don't know because the gallery doesn't tell you who purchases. It's important to state that, important to understand that. All right, let's table the gallery model for a sec. Next is to become a road warrior. A road warrior is someone that does anywhere from 25 to 45 shows a year. The fairs, the shows, the farmers markets, the thises, the that's, and you are loading that car up, setting up the booth. Sometimes it's a dud, sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's inclement weather. You're away from your family, you're 8 hours a day on your feet. It is not easy, it's hard. That being said, totally viable path to get there. If I was an artist myself and I was like looking back at my life and I wanted to give my like 20-year-old self some advice, okay, Emma, talking to you, you're the young one here, it would be like, don't have wife, don't have a significant other, don't have kids, don't have a mortgage. And if you have any of those things, it's just a generalization. You're the young one and I'm looking at you. So go and do that when you're young. Because if you can do that when you're young, when you don't have the aforementioned significant other and kids and soccer games on Saturdays and a mortgage, that's when you're the freest to be able to do that. And it's totally a viable path. Like I've got multiple customers that are in their 50s and 60s that did it for years and years and years. One guy I think of, this guy, Bill Stidham, 175,000 miles on his van in 6 years that he just used for his art shows. I mean, he hit it hard. You know what that guy has now? Healthy 6-figure a year business, and he barely does any shows anymore because he built up a list, he built up a customer base, he built up collectors. The third way, okay, is what everybody really truly has to do. It's what you want to do, which is, I know I'm not going to get into a gallery. I know I'm not doing the show and thayer circuit. That's just too much. I can't be that road warrior. So I want to sell direct. I want to understand who's purchasing my work. And it's totally a viable path. It's what we advocate. Here's the rub, though. You have to market your own art. You have to market your own art. There is no one that is going to market it for you. And for some people, that is a painful thing to hear. For most artists and photographers, it's a painful thing to hear, but it's true. Anyone that's been in this business for any period of time knows that you guys are all sold a bill of goods that somehow an artist or a photographer's vocation is just to create this amazing thing and everything else just happens, and nothing could be further from the truth. You have to get good and understand that marketing yourself is just as important a job as creating what you create. And the sooner you come to terms with that, the way better your life becomes. Why? Because there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do it. Not even close. I mean, for those of us that are older and remember the days before these things existed and before social networks with hundreds of millions of people worldwide were on their phones all day long, do you know how hard it was? Do you know how much harder it was? You were geographically fixed on the planet somewhere, and that's where you started, and that's what you had. You had to grind way harder. Now, if you take your marketing vocation seriously, if you're like, I'm going to get good at this, if you realize that your art business is essentially 2 trains on 2 tracks. Train number 1, your art, your craft, your creations, your subject matter material, your brush, your lens, how good you get with all of that. That train has its own path, and it will go throughout the rest of your career. You want to get better at it. You want to make sure that train has no brakes. The other one is how good you get at marketing yourself. and you need to treat it seriously, and you need to turn it into an art form. And if you understand those two things, that is the path that artists and photographers get on, will become successful, will have a business that is growing year after year after year. And I really firmly do believe there's never been a better time in the history of the world to do that. But it's actually simple. Simple, not easy. Not easy in the fact that you guys have to get good at marketing. Not good that you have to take it seriously. Not good that you have to learn how to do this. And nobody likes doing it. I totally get that, okay? I mean, I run the marketing department here. Truth be told, I don't even like doing it, okay? Posting on socials on a regular basis, content marketing, right? Running sales, all the things that you have to do. But I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know what the alternative is. Because of all the tens of thousands of artists and photographers that have come through these Zoom sessions in the last 3 years, there are maybe one or two that were doing great in the gallery. And I saw specifically, like right when COVID hit and all those gallery people got closed up, those people were flooding into these Zooms going, what do I do? I've got nothing. My income's done, right? It was terrifying. The road warriors are the road warriors. And then there's nothing else. You know, there's nothing else. Like I've had like 6 people tell me they make more $10,000 a year on Saatchi, Fine Art America, Redbubble. I've had a couple of people on Etsy that are doing like $20,000 or $30,000 a year, but I haven't heard anyone else. So when you realize those odds, and please don't take it cynically, like this is only going to happen for you if you sign up at Art Storefronts. I don't care where you sign up or what you do, but I do care that if you want to take this business seriously and you want to see it growing year after year, it's the 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. 2 trains, 2 tracks, no brakes. Okay. Now that rant is over with, I call this thing a Q Thorpe boot camp, and I love the marathon analogy, all right? I hate running. I will never sign up for a marathon in my life. But I know some people that have, and there's one thing that you notice about those people that sign up for the marathon. As soon as you fill out that form for that miserable activity, your whole life changes. Why? You know the pain is coming. You start eating a little bit better. You start training and taking your exercising more seriously. You start getting better sleep. If it's me, you work on that drinking habit that you have, right? All of these things in your life, you start taking more seriously. And my contention, having been in this business for close to 10 years now, and having seen what goes on in Q4 the last 3 months of the year, it's a marathon that you're signed up for, whether you know it or not. And the training that you do between now and then, between the fourth quarter, the buying season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the roll up to Christmas, all of those sales that are in the water, all throughout that. More art, more photography is sold in the fourth quarter than the other 3 quarters combined almost sometimes. Like our customers that do it well have a good year based on what that fourth quarter is. And so my contention is that you're signed up for that marathon whether you know it or not. And the question is, what are you going to start doing between now and then? What are you going to start doing between now and then to get ready? Because if it's wait until the things start getting colder, kids are back at school, you're running around like a crazy person, next thing you know, it's Thanksgiving. Oh, I gotta have a sale. And then you post something on Facebook and send an email to 6 people. Not gonna be good, right? So we need to start training now, right? We need to start getting our businesses in order now. And there's a number of different ways that you can approach that and that you can contemplate it. But step 1 in all of it is have it in the back of your head. It's coming. What you do between now and then is going to dictate the level of success that you have, and it is the most important time of the year to be selling. Without question, not even close. And you have to have your art up on the website. You have to start working on an email list. You have to start marketing regularly and consistently on the social media platforms. If you do that now, you're gonna wake up come October and you're gonna be like, oh, got a little momentum in my back. Things actually look pretty good here. People actually know who I am, and I have the ability to market and run some sales when Black Friday and Cyber Monday comes along. So very, very important to understand that happens every single solitary year. Every year it is absolutely fantastic in terms of sales, in terms of art and photography. So all very, very important. Pricing is another big one. And pricing is one of my favorite topics in this business period, right? And do you know what I love more than anything else? All the bullshit advice that's out there based on pricing. Here's the formula that you use for pricing. It's material cost times square inch times media times your time. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks for that. Magic, really. The only thing that matters is whether or not the art sells. There is no magical formula that's going to help you price your art if the art doesn't sell, which is why all of those formulas are nonsense. Pricing is quite simply this. And it's awesome and it's freeing. And once you do it, and once you realize this lesson, and I have like a really in-depth article on this, and I'm going to send it to all of you. You, creative types, need to have prices from 0 to 100. You need to have prices from 100 to 1,000. You need to have prices over 1,000. And you need to have one thing in the shop that is obscenely expensive. Okay? And let me break that all down with some real numbers. The 0 to 100 is really, really easy, especially if you're reproducing your artwork in terms of prints. But you also have to have non-wall art as a part of your lineup. Okay? It can't just be wall art. And the reason is that not everybody is ready to buy wall art all the time. And so you're out there, you're doing your marketing, you're getting your art, your photography in front of people, and they're like, wow, I really like this person. I really like their creativity. Problem, I'm not in the market for art right now. I want to reward this person for their talent, but I'm not in the market for art right now. If only they had something that was non-wall art related. Oh, they don't. Tell you what, I'll make a mental note to come back here. I'm going to go watch some cat videos, and you know what the masks do there, right? They're not coming back. They're never coming back. So the importance of having the non-wall art is so critical. No one talks about this enough. A business, specifically your guys' businesses, can be judged how well they are growing on one metric and one metric alone: the number of new customers you are acquiring per year. The number of new customers you are acquiring per year. Why? Why? Because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. It is significantly easier to get somebody to come back and purchase a second time than it is to go out and find a new person and have them purchase for the first time. And this is just a fundamental rule of most businesses, but specifically this business. And I alluded earlier to how important it is to not sell in galleries so that you know who is purchasing your work. There is a phenomenon in here. I stole it from this guy, so I always give him credit. Hold on, I'm going to grab his book. I stole this from Weiland, okay? Weiland is the whale guy. Most would say the best-selling artist in the United States. By the way, this book, fire! Okay? Insane. Amazing. You need to go buy it. Honestly, I should be on commission for this. In fact, he's got a gallery close to where I live. I'm going to go in there and get it. Short, sweet, no fluff. I'm sorry, here it is. But the rub is it's not on Amazon. I think he donates 100% of the proceeds to charity, so you have to buy it from his website. But honestly, Google this book and buy this book. Weiland defines a collector as someone that will purchase in upwards of 7+ pieces of art from him over the course of a lifetime. And this is a phenomenon I see played out continually with my own customer base. But when you have collectors, it's a phenomenon of this business, right? Like there's certain product categories that have collectors, right? If you ask my 7-year-old kid, it's those damn Pokemon cards. They're all over my floor right now. You guys would laugh if you saw these. But shoes, cars, wristwatches, art is one of them. And it's a fantastic thing because you will keep creating throughout the course of your life. And these collectors will just go along for the ride. You keep raising prices, they keep coming and buying and buying and buying. Oh, that's awesome. Emma just said that book is on Spotify for free. I did not know that. Definitely listen to it. You want to highlight it, though. I'm not kidding. Great book. Where was I going with all that? So if we know the most important thing an art business can have as a collector, and then we know in order for a collector to become a collector, they first have to purchase something, that underscores how important it is to have non-wall art as a part of the lineup, okay? That's the 0 to 100 range. Also in there, you obviously have small prints. And then let's say you're 100 to 1,000, you get into some bigger size prints, right? Your metals, your canvas, your acrylic, you go through that 0 to 1,000 range, and maybe close to the 1,000 range, you're in limited editions, and then above that, you have your originals. Everyone has to adjust it a little bit to taste. But you also need something obscenely expensive in the store. And let's say that you sell your originals, just to keep the math simple, at like $1,000. I want one in there for 10 grand. And why? Why? Why one in there for 10 grand? That's crazy. I'm never going to sell that thing. I don't even care if you don't ever sell that thing. You ever been to a car dealership? And you know, in the car dealership, that the big glass box in the middle, I know the car dealership is a miserable feeling in most people's heads because you have to deal with the salespeople. But anyway, the big glass box in the middle, right? Let's say we're at the Toyota dealership. In that big glass box in the middle is the Toyota Supra carbon fiber TRD whatever. It's $275,000, right? There's a reason that they put those cars inside the glass box, and it's because human beings are wired to make purchase decisions based on comparison. We anchor onto certain things to compare to other certain things. And so when we go and look at that $250,000 Supra or the $150,000 Land Cruiser that's inside the glass box, we anchor onto that price point, and it makes us feel just that much better about buying the $60,000 Highlander, right? That's on the outside. And that's a phenomenon called price anchoring. And it's just one of these psychological things that's really, really, really important to do. You feel better knowing that I didn't buy the most expensive thing. It makes you feel a little bit better. That's why you put that high-priced item in there. Also, everyone's followers, yours, mine, any business, that all fall into a thing that I call the socioeconomic bell curve, okay? It's your typical bell curve, exactly what you'd expect. And down at the low end of it, you have the low socioeconomic status. Those people can't afford anything. They'll like, comment, and share on your post. They're still good people. Then you have lower income folks, middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the bell curve, right? You know, what does everyone always say to me all the time? Yeah, I just want to target high net worth buyers. Yeah, good. That's great. You and every other business on the planet, aside from the 99-cent store, wants to target the high net worth buyers, okay? That is why it's insanely difficult to do that. But the point is, you need to have this range of pricing that I'm discussing to be able to cover all of the spots on that bell curve. Because what happens when you do that is you acquire the highest number of customers possible. And the beautiful thing about acquiring the highest number of customers possible is you can market to these folks in the future. The bell curve is not a fixed entity. Your buyers and potential buyers are going up and down that bell curve their entire lives. The one that's living in their mother's basement right now is buying their new house 2 years from now. And you got that sale. Do you want to know why you got that sale? Because you sold them a mug or a mouse pad or a calendar or a whatever, and it sat on their fridge. It could be a sticker, okay, that's on my garage fridge with all the rest of the stickers. And every time I go out to get a beer, which is an enjoyable experience for me, I look at your art, okay? Now I've moved out of my mother's basement, and I'm going to go buy a house, and you got that sale. And that's how it works. And I get a lot of pushback on the merch. Okay, I'm a fine artist, Patrick. I would never sell that merch, that cheap tchotchke crap. I'm not doing that. To which I respond, let me know the last time any of you went to a museum that didn't have a gift shop. I'll wait. Okay? If Van Gogh's Starry Night is on the wall, and you can also buy a Starry Night poster in the gift shop for $22 plus tax, I'm pretty sure Van Gogh's not losing any sleep over it. Technically, he's really asleep. He's dead. But you get the point, okay? You get the point. You ever been to a concert that hasn't had merch? I don't think so, okay? The Rolling Stones, take your pick, okay? Merch is very, very important in the simple lens that you acquire more customers as a result of it. So having that price range is huge. What is one of the most defeating things that happens to artists and photographers out there? You worked hours on a piece. I mean, hours. It took so much time. You're going to sell this thing for $800, and what happens? Someone's like, yeah, that's beautiful. Would you take $25 for it? Oh, you're just deflated, right? Like this person is just, I mean, it's like a troll on social media. I mean, they have just ruined your entire day. The beautiful thing is, when you have the range of pricing, it doesn't happen as much. It almost doesn't happen at all. Because people understand, they have a context of where things are in your lineup. Oh, this is $100 and under. Oh, this is $100 to $1,000. Oh, this is over $1,000. Oh, that's the $5,000 piece. And what's more, when you get those folks who don't know any better, okay, most of them are not yet people, they just don't know any better, you can be like, oh, that's fantastic. I love that you have the interest. That one costs quite a bit more, but let me show you what is in your range. And then we gently guide them to where we are in our range. Do you know how much better that is for your self-esteem? Okay, let me tell you, significantly better. It is significantly better for your self-esteem. You are going to be a happier and better functioning member of society, okay? Your significant other is like, this is awesome. Why are you in such a good mood? It's because you have the range of pricing. Very, very important. That's pricing. I'm going to send you a follow-up article on it after this whole thing's over. In addition to the pricing, the next thing I want to talk about is Instagram. Most important social network for artists and photographers. It's not even close. Secondarily, it's Facebook. Okay, have to be working on both of them. Well, Patrick, what about TikTok, or what about Pinterest, or what about SEO? Yeah, what about shiny objects that are not going to move your business anywhere and are going to put you on the road to a hobby? All right, that's what all the rest are. I don't care what anyone else says, anyone's friends, anyone. No one is selling art on any of the rest of those things, okay? They are lying to you if they're saying they are. It's nonsense. I've looked at way too much data. Aside from onesies, twosies here with weird circumstances, the two most important places that you need to be are Instagram and secondarily Facebook. And thank God for that. Okay, don't talk to me about TikTok. I'll kick you right out of this Zoom. You are lying to yourself, okay? Stupid Chinese app, communist app that is just trying to flood you with an endorphin hit. You got 10,000 views. You didn't get 10,000 views. You got 100 views from people that are never going to buy your work, okay? So when we stay focused on the only two platforms that matter, to the detriment of wasting time on any of the rest of those ones, I don't care. Just stay out of there. Stay in my lane. Facebook and Instagram and Facebook. You will end up winning. And why is Instagram the most important? What do you guys create? You create visual creations. What is Instagram? A giant visual search engine. Imagine that. Lines up pretty nicely, right? The beautiful thing is that Instagram has become, over the years, evolved into the credit check for artists and photographers. What do I mean by that? I'm going to buy something. I saw something. My neighbor had something. It's really important for me to keep up with the Jones. I'm going to go look at what he got. And what am I doing? I'm going instantaneously to Amazon. I'm going to read the reviews. Was that thing good? Is there a better one? Maybe there's a better one. Maybe I can one-up this guy because I got to keep up with the Jones. Now, we check Amazon is a way of getting credit checks, like getting the reviews of what something is, right? So you could say Consumer Reports or some of the other sites too. For artists and photographers, it's like, hey, I just saw this. I'm at your friend's house. You sold some art to your friend. I saw that. That's a great piece. Who did that? Oh, yeah, it's my buddy. It's my cousin, Mark McClanahan over there. And you should check him out. You know what they're going to do? They're going to pull out Instagram, and they're going to look for you, and they're going to look at your profile, and are they going to say, is this an artist that's doing anything? Is this an artist that's putting out content regularly? Are they on the up and up? Do they have 2 followers or 2,000 followers, right? And it's very, very important to understand, one, that Instagram offers a credit check, okay? So fundamentally, it's important just for that matter. 2, secondarily, and I should also say, like, you know, the data in this industry is so utterly, totally, completely opaque, right? Like, there's so much nonsense out there, it's mind-boggling. But there's 2 outfits that report on the super high end of the art market. One's the Hiscox Group, it's an insurance entity out of London, and the other is Art Basel teams up with UBS Payne Weber, I think that's who it is. The 2 of them put out a report, and what they do is they survey every year all of the folks that are essentially buying $100,000 pieces and up. And every single solitary year, I've watched the results of those reports when it comes out, and every year it ticks up. Did you follow and or consume content from an artist on Instagram? Was Instagram influential in your buying decision? And in both cases, both of their surveys, like, those percentages are really pretty high. So it's significant in its ability to help you guys sell art. The top-end, high-end buyers are all there, okay? So that makes it very important as well. The beautiful thing about Instagram is you can reach a ton of buyers. The terrible thing about Instagram is you have to post frequently on it for years to really make a huge dent. So, yeah, 1, you got to get started. 2, you have to understand you're going to suffer in the short term, because it's not easy, and you have to learn how to do it, and you have to learn how to enjoy it and get good at it. And we can talk about that in depth. I have a ton of teaching on Instagram. But the beautiful thing that exists currently on Instagram, and I love this, okay, we're going to do a little social media history lesson, but Facebook emerged. Facebook pretty much became a monopoly, okay? Power was unchecked. Then a new rising competitor came along, and Facebook is like, we can't have any competition. It was Instagram. We're going to go buy those folks. So they bought them. Okay, great. Now Facebook's even more powerful. It's Facebook and Instagram. I'm streaming on their platform when I'm saying this, so I get banned. You guys will know why. Zuckerberg kicks my door, and you'll know why. So now they own these 2 platforms. So the playbook was, we are a monopoly. If any competitors come along, we're just going to buy them. Okay. Snapchat emerges. Snapchat starts taking all of these young kids away from Facebook and Instagram. They're like, all right, what does the playbook say to do in this situation? Let me see the playbook. Mark, it says if we have a competitor, go and buy it. All right, somebody go and buy Snapchat. So they go and try and buy Snapchat. Snapchat says pound sand. Mark's like, okay, what does the playbook say now? We don't know. He goes, all right, we're just going to copy them verbatim. And so Snapchat had these things called stories that disappeared after 24 hours, and Facebook copied them verbatim. So, okay, now Snapchat peters out. I mean, who's using that? I don't know. Some kids, whatever. It's whatever. I don't want to talk about it. The next one came along. This time it was TikTok. And Mark Zuckerberg went right back to the playbook. He's like, okay, this is awesome. TikTok is starting to steal a bunch of our users. It's competition. What should I do? Let's go try and buy them. He goes and tries and buy them again. They tell him no. He said, my wife is Chinese. Let me buy you. They still said no. So the next thing they do is they're like, okay, what is the playbook saying next? Copy them verbatim. And so that's what they did. And by the way, the other social players were watching, and now YouTube watched, and they're like, okay, let's copy them verbatim. So what did TikTok have? These short form little videos that were 120 seconds or less and were very compelling cell phone style video sets. They copied that feature verbatim and called it Instagram Reels. YouTube saw that, copied that feature verbatim, called it YouTube Shorts. I could cycle through the 3 views of those 3 different products, and you could almost not tell the difference. They even put the buttons in the same place as copycats. Anyway, why it was a brilliant thing, TikTok coming along, is it destroyed what has been up to that point in time in the social contract. What is a social contract? What do I mean by that? Hey, art store friends, work really hard on my platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and post a bunch of content. When you do, people will follow you and become fans. After you earn those followers and those fans, some small portion of what you create will be shown to those followers and fans for free. Early on in the days, it was like 90%. Recently, it's like 2 to 5%. Tiny, almost nothing, right? So that is what the social contract was. TikTok, God bless them, despite the fact that don't like the platform and think it's evil, has been still siphoning off users from Instagram at an alarming rate. It's all the younger kids and the people that are chasing likes that are not real and chasing views that are not real. It's a worthless platform. Anyway, so what they've done is they've torn up the social contract. So now, where we are is we're in a scenario where you can get onto Instagram and you can have 2 followers, your significant other and your mother, okay? She likes and comments on everything. God bless you. Thank you, Mom. You can create content in the form of an Instagram Reel. And an Instagram Reel can potentially, if it's good, be seen by hundreds, by thousands, by even millions. In which case, you organically marketing without leaving your house, showing off your creations, understanding the platform, can get free reach. It used to be you didn't get that. And it used to be you had to pay a ton of money in terms of Facebook and Instagram ads to get that attention. Now you can do that without leaving your house. And that's an incredible, incredible thing. So it represents a huge, huge opportunity. And so that's where we stand right now as it sits in 2023. I believe Instagram is the most amazing platform that exists. That can bring you guys buyers, bring you guys fans, bring you guys email addresses, and yes, sell your art with photography, but you have to get good at marketing it. You have to understand how to post. You have to work. Still definitely stand by all of those positions, but as I was just sitting there and listening to it, it's like nobody likes the social media sites. I don't like posting on Instagram. I don't like being on Instagram. But let me tell you, for those of us that are old school, 20 years ago, you were limited by your geographic range and how far you could drive. The fact that you can use this now and reach a worldwide audience without leaving your house is a pretty amazing thing. Doesn't mean any single solitary bit of it is easy. That is for certain. You know, one other quick tangent, and then we'll get into the Q&A immediately, is, you know, we have POD. Okay, what got me thinking about this was we had a phone call about it this morning, but also it's something that I heard on the video. Like, POD stands for print on demand, right? And it's a pretty significant game changer in the sense that any of us that are older knows that anytime we wanted to order something, there used to be minimums, and you would have to warehouse the material, and you would have to go and deal with all the printing and go drive to the place and do this and do that. So the fact that a macro, we didn't pioneer it. There's other places it goes, so don't take it cynically. But the fact that you can do that in today's day and age is absolutely miraculous. And succinctly, you put your art up on a website, you get an order, you get paid, the printer gets paid, the printer prints it, box it, ships it, you don't lift a finger, you don't touch anything, you don't even waste a minute of your time. That's an amazing scenario, right? And it's moved now to merch as well. And it's still totally new and sort of getting legs, right? Like, yes, you can do calendars and do mugs and do yoga mats and do greeting cards and throw pillows and tote bags and all these sorts of things. But the fact that you can do all of that on, a print on demand basis, again, no minimum orders, You don't have to hold inventory. You get the order, it prints and ships, and everything is really insane. And there's just a ton of innovation that's going on in that industry. And so we're partnered with this company called Guten and had a meeting with them today to kind of hear where they were going. And it was really sort of astounding because when you think about it at the end of the day, you guys are just creatives trying to monetize your artistic talent, right? Now, the paradigm out there, the world out there tells you that, like, you need to be doing it with wall art, right? You need to be doing it with wall art, and that's what you're here to do. You're an artist. That means selling wall art. But who's to say? I mean, does anyone really care what it is that they're selling? At the end of the day, I believe you're trying to monetize your creative talents and passions, right? The fact that there is going to be more and more and more and more opportunities to do so on more and more and more unconventional items as a result of POD just gives you guys more leverage. Like, sell one thing, don't sell one thing, just stick to wall art, don't stick to wall art. But the fact that you can do all of it in a POD modality really is amazing. And, you know, the most difficult thing, the thing that every single solitary one of you on this call has the biggest problem with, which is the marketing problem, okay? The way, once you realize that, and once you start in on doing the marketing, and believe me, I know none of you like doing the marketing. None of you want to do the marketing. None of you have likely ever done the marketing consistently. It's the number one thing that you struggle with, okay? But once you realize that, and you do start working on it, and you do realize how important it is, you start to realize something. Just selling wall art alone is a crappy business. You want to know why? Because not everyone your marketing message reaches is ready to buy wall art at that moment in time. They're just not. They're just not. Those are the rules. And so once you realize that, you go out and you start marketing, and then I'll wrap it up and get to Q&A. Having these other items, and it doesn't even matter what they are. Everyone is entitled to pick what they are. My contention is that it has to have some non-wall art. You stand to benefit to see a much greater ROI on the marketing because these people get drawn into your creative ecosystem, and instead of leaving because they weren't in the market for wall art at that moment, leaving and going watching cat videos and never coming again, you now have the opportunity for no out-of-pocket costs whatsoever to be able to have something to sell to them, such that you retain the email address, you start a relationship, you have someone to market to, and you have someone to potentially turn into a collector. And that's an absolute game changer. So it's very, very exciting to see where all of that goes. And, you know, I'm not going to start banging the drum on it and hammering on it, because really at the end of the day, you know, the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. That is just a rule of this business, a rule in business in general. And when you have volume, okay, you have a lot more people that you can market to. Well, it's pretty hard to get volume on just selling wall art alone, right? But when you add in these additional products, and instead of having 15 or 20 customers a year, you can have 3,000. That makes a huge difference spread over years and years and years. When you start treating your business like a business rather than, well, I just want to create what I want to create, and this is what it is, and this is my product, and it should sell, and it should be great. Now, when you start actually thinking like a business, the number of customers that I acquire per year is directly reflective on the revenue potential of the business long term. Everything changes. Everything changes, right? Anyway, enough of me ranting on that. I don't know why I went down that tangent. Q&A time. How do we go about that? How does it all work? So if you're one of the brave ones, and there's not that many of you today, that have your camera on and you have a question, all you have to do is the old school hand raise. I'll see that. I can unmute you, bring you in for a question. For everyone else, at the bottom of the Zoom window is this little smiley face that says reactions. You can click that thing. There's a fly like buzzing around, tiny one. If you click raise hand there, that lets you raise your hand digitally speaking. That lets me know you have a question. I can unmute you, bring you on. If you don't have the camera, you don't want to turn your camera on, fine. Totally get that. If this wasn't my job, you wouldn't see me on camera. I have a face for radio, okay? Although all of you guys do need to get comfortable on camera because it's an important part of marketing. Not kidding about that. So you can do that. You can also throw the questions in the chat, and we will just work through them and get through as many as we can. And Nikki and Eddie, I'll try to answer as many of yours as possible. I know, whatever. We'll get into those in a second. All right, Matt, kick us off. Go ahead.
All right, how's it going, Patrick?
Good. How you doing?
Great to be back. Doing great. Great to be back on this call. I was actually on a previous one,
Yeah.
and I wanted to tell you first of all, a tactic that you prescribed of selling an art on the one day really actually worked out. I did that, and it actually worked. It sold a hoodie that day.
Yep.
So really excited about that. Thanks for that.
And by the way, like I've reflected on the question that you asked multiple times. And do you know what I loved about it? Which I get these questions all the time, right? All the time.
What's that?
I mean, 3 of these a week that I run forever and ever, right? That run with my customers all the time. It was just the word today. What can I do to sell some art today? Was the question that you asked me. And I never get that today question. Everyone asks me, how can I sell some art? But the today applies. You are going to get off your ass and get something in the water today. And you did.
Yes.
So tell people what you did, just because I want to hear. They want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a hoodie. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually the very last hoodie that I had, and I did like a very limited run. Basically, what I did is I went onto Instagram Live. I said, "Hey, I have this hoodie," and I showed it. It's actually a wraparound, so it works really well for the whole, 3D, like
Mm-hmm.
showing people what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Told them it's very comfortable. This is the last one. Make me an offer. Boom. And so then I took that Instagram live video and I turned that into a reel, turned that reel into a story, and then put another story on top of that. So where are my fantasy if art lovers at? And then somebody actually responded to that story. So I hit him from a number of different angles. I hit him from the live video to the
Yep.
reel to the story. So someone responded to that story. Hey, what size is it? I say medium. So what does this usually go for? I say $80. And so he goes, okay, if you would you take a payment plan? Would you take like 40 now, 40 later? I'm like, sure, yeah, great. Boom.
Done. Yeah.
Literally,
It's
literally within like 18. It was like the morning of the next day that I sold it, but the interest generated the day before. So he
Yep.
was like, basically put his hand up already for that.
Yep. And that's the whole point, right? Like it's just the whole point. Like you can't sit on the sidelines and that you can't that just I'm gonna get to it tomorrow, and nothing ever gets done. You got to just ship it and you got to just go. Now you feel emboldened. Now you're contemplating what other products you can do that with, and you're like, okay, now that I've posted it on
Right.
Instagram, how can I post it on Facebook, right? What can I potentially bundle as different products, right? Like, there's literally no end in sight to the techniques. And like, one of the things that I love about what I do is I am hardcore marketing in the trenches myself every damn day. And so the advice that I'm giving you is not, someone was asking me like about a course or something in the chat. It's like there's no courses that I would recommend. By the time you take the course, it's already obsolete, right? Like there are the fundamental main high level messages of marketing, the fact that it's the arbitrage of attention, the fact is like effective frequency, things that you would learn in college. But all this stuff on the ground is like you learn from just doing, right? You learn from just doing. It's funny. I was watching a video on Twitter yesterday, and I guess it's called X now, but it was someone asked Jerry Seinfeld they were teaching a class to comedians on how to be a comedian, and someone asked, and this guy knew Jerry Seinfeld and it was in LA, and he's like, hey, will you come and speak to the class? And Jerry's like, yeah, I'll speak to the class. And Seinfeld shows up to the class and he goes, the fact that you guys are all in this class means you've already failed. Get out there and go try it, right? And it's so true. Like, stop overthinking it. Just get out there and do it. But anyway, enough of that rant. How can I help you today is the question.
Yes, fantastic. And thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the tactic as well. I took your challenge and I did it
Mm-hmm.
that day and with success. And yeah, so my biggest thrust right now is really developing. I know this is a lot of people's thrust. It's like developing that reliable base of collectors over time that are going to reliably come back, take the courses, buy the products, do all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I have done a few programs. She's actually worked with me before. She does shadow work. We have a lot of shared interests, a lot of key shared interests.
Awesome.
And our biggest sticking point really has been getting people to commit and sign up to things and really, really having that reliable base
Hmm.
that can be called upon for, whatever it is, buying my art or going to the retreat course or whatever. So what's the best way? What would you suggest? What's the best way that I could be developing that reliable base of followers and fans who are going to buy and purchase and attend?
Regular and consistent marketing that you don't stop for years and years and years. Straight up. I mean, that's
Mm,
that's honestly what it comes down to, right? Like,
mm,
I remember for the first 3 years of Art Storefronts, it was write a blog post every day, email it to the list, run $10 a day Facebook ads. And then I added a podcast. And so it's a blog post and a podcast. Every week, email it to the list, run $10 a day on Facebook ads. Then it was $20 a day on Facebook ads. And that was like a year and a half. And then the list got up to like 1,500 people. And then we did a bunch of other stupid stuff that made no impact whatsoever, right? Wasteoftime.com. And then realized you got to just keep going on the outbound marketing, growing the email list, and that's it. It's not
mm.
it's not sexy, right? It doesn't sound sexy, and let me tell you, it's a bit of a grind, but it's how it works. It's how it works in the real world for sure.
For sure. So what I'm hearing is really the email list. The email list is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I've got a
I released a I want you do you have you listened to the podcast?
I have not. I have
No,
not
so
listened.
yeah, I want you to. So let me get to it. I want all of you guys to. So there is so this one, number 54. And it's a little hard to read, so I'll read it. It's the most important metric no one talks about. Focus on this and win. I want you to go listen to that, okay? Just search anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's called the Art Marketing Podcast. And
Okay.
I want you to go and listen to that one because it literally is a 45-minute answer to the question that you're asking me right now. And it's in depth, and you'll really, really enjoy it.
Fantastic.
You'll really,
Thank
really enjoy
you.
it.
That's number 54.
Yeah, number 54. And then I want you to listen to all the rest of them because it's going to help you out significantly. I'm serious.
Absolutely.
I'm serious.
Absolutely.
You know,
All right.
thanks, man. One of the really fun things, and I'm gonna send all this to you guys, but I just want to, because I have an opportunity to bring it up right now. You know, one of the common refrains that we get all the time, which is like, who are your really big customers at Art Storefronts? Like, who are the ones that are doing really, really well, right? And I sort of hate that question because everyone's premise for that question is like, they think in their minds that you sign up for some service and all of a sudden, boom, you're this huge successful artist, which is the biggest bunch of bullshit in the history of mankind. If anyone tells you that, run away. They're selling you snake oil. We don't create incredible, amazing, talented people. All we do is make them a little bit better, and that's our job. But give you a for instance, right? So we started bringing on some of our most successful customers and interviewing them and creating podcast episodes out of them as well. First one I did was with this kid, Jonah, and 29-year-old kid, and he's doing like $100,000 a month in sales. So he's very, very impressive, right? One of the cool things is we do an hour interview and we do an hour Q&A. And in the Q&A, Jonah was talking about one of the ways that he does his one of his sales techniques, okay? And it's this technique that he calls make me an offer, right? Well, that was 2 weeks ago, and I just got a comment on YouTube from a customer. Patrick, I took your advice on this past weekend's art fair. I found someone interested in one of my big pieces, but they were hesitant, and I said to them, make me an offer, and boom, 2 big sales, right? God, I love that. Very, very exciting. Anyway, I'm going to email all of you guys those last 2 posts. And I see the comments coming into the chat. I will answer the chat ones, but I usually like to prioritize the ones that have hands up or are going. Okay, Angela, you're up next, and then I'll go to you. It's blocking your name, but I saw you.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw that Saltwater Jesus video. That was excellent.
How funny of a name is that? I razz him all the time.
Well, I can't remember his name, but that one really sticks.
Jonah. Yeah, Jonah.
So I have 3 questions.
Mhm.
Is the process a little different for commissions because they're
No.
really having to work with them and they have to have a level of trust?
No.
My second is, what do you think of podcast and artists being interviewed on podcast? And the third is, what are your thoughts on Patreon?
Great questions all. So broadly, I have never met a revenue source or an attention source I don't like, as long as it's above board and legal. Okay, so I'll start with the end. Patreon can be okay, can be great. There's another one that's very similar to it that I think is even a little bit better called Substack, which is new. I love the fact that it's recurring regular revenue, but my question would be, what are you offering as a service in there, right? Like, are you teaching people to paint? Are you teaching people to grow their art? Like, what would be the reason that I would subscribe to your Patreon or your Substack or your whatever?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just considering whether it's a good fit for me. It's more about products and developing followers because I do merch. And that's kind of on my lower end of things.
Yeah,
But
I don't really believe in, so Patreon, okay, is writing an alliteration of the word patron, right? And so everyone thinks like patron, like people are just going to naturally support me because people like supporting the arts. It's like, that is such bullshit. That doesn't happen anymore, okay? Not the way you guys think it does. Like, okay, it happens occasionally, but don't go banking on that. Patreon's just a business. And you're saying, hey, I have a business where people are paying me for something, and that something is good enough that I can use Patreon to charge them a monthly subscription, right? Whether that's a podcast or content or teaching or this or that. So, don't get hung up in the service being the solution. It's still the product is the only thing that matters, right? So that's an important thing to understand. And with commissions, nothing really changes with commissions at all. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Aside from the fact that they're a pain in the butt in comparison to just selling an original or selling a print, right? But they're also amazing. Like, I recommend 100% of my customers, photographers and artists both alike, have a commissions button on the website. And the reason, and whether they have any intention of ever taking a commission or not. And the reason is that the commission is essentially a suggestion box, right? It's like, hey, I love what you do, Angela, your creative style, but none of this stuff is for me. Will you do this? And oh, by the way, here's my credit card. That's essentially what they're saying, right? So they're just a fantastic way to, number one, start conversations, okay? And you saw how Jonah did it, right? Jonah doesn't sell anything through the website. He's like, get on a Zoom, let's talk face to face. Genius. He just starts conversations. So commissions are great for that, and then they're great for understanding new niches, right? Great new niches that you can go down. But they're also very dangerous, right? Because once you get going on a commissions path, it's really hard to get out. It's really, really hard to get out. And most of the commissions, not all, but a lot of the commissions reach a ceiling from a price standpoint, where it's just not a viable business anymore, and then you end up with carpal tunnel syndrome. One of my customers that just recently signed up, he's an animator in Hollywood, and he lives in the foothills of Los Angeles, kind of where there's cabins, and it's kind of like a thing to have cats there. And he got laid off in the whole strike, so he hasn't been working, and he painted one person's cabin, and he did it like in his animator style, painted one person's cabin and their cat, and one person saw it, and he's now got an order of like 60 commissions backed up. And he's like, dude, this is really, really fun. I was like, first of all, the cats in cabins book will probably go huge. That is a genius idea. So don't shy away from this. He's like, how am I supposed to start a business with my fine art if I'm going to be drawing damn cats in cabins for the next 6 months? So you gotta be careful with them. You gotta be careful with them. It wasn't on one of these. It was on the Meg episode. So if you saw the Meg episode, it's in that one. But anyway, I digress. So that's what I would say. Does that answer most of them?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Thanks for the questions. All right, Deborah, you're up next. And then there was someone else's hand, and the name got blocked. Yeah, okay. Harmony, I got you. Okay. And then Judy, you're next. Okay. Go ahead, Deborah. I'll get you guys next. And you'll need to unmute, Deborah. Mic icon, bottom left-hand corner. Let you know when you get it. Or if you're on the cell phone. Yep, gotcha. Uh-oh, Deborah, I can't hear you. Oh, it's Don. All right, Don. I still can't hear you, Don. Like, what kind of POD? He's asking the question in the chat. I'll figure it out. Yeah, you don't have a mic. Okay, that's not going to help. I'll just answer your question. Like, what kind of POD? Coffee mugs, work from home goods, tees, bed shirts, embroidery, custom times. Don't have a webcam. Yeah, you just ordered one via Best Buy. That's okay. I don't care. I could care less on the POD. I think everyone has to do them, like, you know, what they're happy doing, what they want to sell. Like, we have some data on what print on demand stuff that we feel sells best for our customers. Some people think some of it's schlocky. I would never sell that. Other people love the other stuff. I've got some customers that hand paint wooden spoons. I've got some people that do stickers, that don't do stickers. I could care less. I think for me, it's just simple mass. Do you have something $100 less or less in your lineup that is not wall art, right? Stated another way, do you have something $100 less in your inventory that will qualify as an impulse buy? I don't have to talk to another stakeholder, my wife. I don't have to go home and measure my walls. I can be feeling squirrely on a Friday, see it on Instagram, and boom, buy it, like, you know, Matt's hoodie. So when you have that, you see more ROI out of your marketing efforts, right? And you also acquire way more customers. You just do. So that's the game. I hope that answers your question. Okay, it'll go Harmony, and then Jude will get to you. Okay, Harmony, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure can.
Okay, good. Thank you, Patrick. I'm brand new. I haven't signed up yet. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I'm a glass artist. I do glass hand-painted vessel sinks. And I also wrote this book that I'm so passionate about. It's called it's a book of poetry, and it's very, very inspirational and very poignant about what's going on in the world and all kinds of things. And it's called Give Your Ego a Rest and Let Your Soul Read This Book. And I want to do videos reading my poetry and inspire people to look at life in a different way and different things like that. So I want to know how I can get these poems out there. My book is not published, and I was thinking of like inspirational cards, like they have tarot cards, oracle cards, that kind of, you know, things, possibly. I don't know. I was thinking of doing it as prints. And I have other prints that I do from my own glass work. I take images of the glass that I do and I make them into, you know, beautiful shots. I also am an interior designer, and which is my real love. And I want to teach people how to make accessory vignettes, how to understand how to do accessories in their house, because most people have no clue. And that's the thing that makes it the prettiest, is how they balance the different things and the texture and the size and all of that. And I want to be able to, so anyway, that's all my ideas right now.
Yeah, love it. And, you know, it's funny because you're talking about a number of different endeavors, and yet it doesn't matter. Any of the three, all the three, some of the three, you need attention, you need eyeballs to get any traction on any of them, right? No different than you do on your art, no different than we do on our software, right? So it all comes back to, I should say, our software marketing community. We're way more than software, but anyway, it all comes down to how you get attention in marketing, right? You need all of the above. You need all of the above. It's the only thing that matters, right? I mean, I could give you a bunch of tactical things to do, you know, with your book of poems, and how you can publish those on Facebook, and you can publish them on Instagram, and you can, you know, put entire sections into long posts, which no one ever does from a text standpoint, would actually do really well. But you still have to work to get the attention, right?
That's okay. I'm so ready to be out there. I'm so ready to be me and do this mission that I've had my whole life. I'm like 78 now, and I'm ready to do it. That's it. I'm done with sitting and, you know what I mean? And just being talented. I want to be out there, and I want people to, you know, to get inspired and to enjoy the things that I create and to learn.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you can absolutely, like, you know, it sort of dovetails with this like notion of, well, I don't have any one niche or style. I do this, I do that, I do that. All good in today's day and age. Like, the artist, the photographer is just as much a part of the brand as whatever the creations are. It's
That's
like,
what
I would
I
even
believe.
go as far to say it's like, you know, oftentimes it's 50-50 of a sale. Like they
Yeah.
want to know who the artist is, what makes them tick. So you can do whatever you like, right? All of it can be on the same web page. You start marketing it. You see what does well. Either one thing does really well, way better than everything else, in which case that's your niche. Otherwise, everything sells equally. You just keep going and being you, right? So
Fabulous. So would you be able to, whoever part of, if I sign up for this,
Mhm.
will I be able to get the help I need for this type of thing? For all of it?
Yeah, you certainly will. I mean, that's just what we do all day long. I mean, everyone on this
Okay.
call is no different than any of the rest of our customers. We're all
Okay.
suffering from a marketing problem. We all need help solving it, and
Yep.
we attack that about 17 ways to Sunday. So
Okay.
yeah, get a demo. We can help you for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks. And I think your story is kind of like what my earlier rant was, which is like I got really excited on that call earlier today because contemplating all these additional things that are going to start coming online in terms of POD, print on demand, no inventory, anyone can offer it. Like our job as a business at Art Storefronts is just to create successful customers. That's it. Like, if it's selling wall art, great. If it's selling classes, great. If you're a photographer and you have a business that takes people into the national parks and teaches them nighttime spectral photography, great. I don't care. If we help you to get where you're going quicker, it's fine by me. All right, Ju Oshiro, go ahead.
Hello, Patrick.
Hi.
Hi, I'm brand new too, and I'm really impressed with your marketing no nonsense strategy. I love that. It's just true matter of fact. And while I'm listening to you, I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
It's the only way. It's the only way to do it. I mean, we would lose
Yeah,
our
no,
minds.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
My question's a little bit, I think, off the subject, but I very recently decided to do my recent painting 100% donation going toward Maui disaster relief.
Mhm.
And I want to start a fundraise. And I've been thinking about it, and I really would like to hear your take on this. Which way is the most effective way for me to raise most to fund, and how can I get
Are you from
funding?
Hawaii? Are you from Hawaii originally, or you have roots in Hawaii?
Well,
or you just...
my family's there. They're not in Maui, they're in Honolulu, but yeah, but and also my painting, how effectively I can raise as much. I don't have much presence in social media. Instagram,
Yeah.
It's very little, maybe 500 followers. So instead of just putting out there, I really want to talk to you and ask your advice first.
Yeah, I think, charities can be great ways to do it, but it doesn't matter if it's, trying to get attention for the charity. Right now it's Maui. Not too long ago, it was Ukraine, right? There's something that always pops up. You still have to get attention, right? It still goes back to the same problem. Now, you could, if I really wanted to do it and I didn't have a big enough audience myself to get there, I would partner with another organization that has a huge list and say, I'm donating these pieces to you. You can auction them off, and then that can go to charity. That could be a way that you could get it done and actually get the art in front of people. And I have family on Maui, and my dad grew up in on Oahu in Kaneohe and Kailua, so I feel terrible for those folks too. So I definitely feel you on that. But that's what I would say. That's probably how I would approach it. There are a number of ways that we teach you as a customer to leverage charities and things that you can do with charities. They're great ways to give some of your art away and then try to get a bunch of additional followers and folks in like that. But they're longer term plays, and Maui's in the news right now, but Lahaina is going to be out of the news in a month with like our so by the time you got it all spun up and everything else. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, Teresa, go ahead, and then Amanda, I see your question. Don't worry.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi.
I was wondering. I'm getting ready to join also.
Okay.
And I was wondering when you were talking about the videos, and then we're going to have to do little snippets, 10 to 30 seconds. do you help us with that? I mean, I'm not a video person. I've never done it. I don't know what it's like on the backside.
Yep, we do. We teach you. Well, let me say it this way. There is the tactical components of it, right? What do I need in terms of equipment? How do I use a cell phone? You know, what are some ideas here, there, and that? There's that. And then there is the encouragement, bribery, and harassment portion of it. Now, the encouragement, harassment, and bribery portion is, Teresa, none of us have hair. None of us have makeup. We all live in the same kind of houses. It's not fun. You're going to be nervous. No one cares. Get on with it, right? Like, one of my favorite things, I say that all the time, and the answer to the question is yes to all of the above. And my favorite is that, you know, the majority of the social media sites are now orientating like a cell phone, right? So in this aspect ratio, we've all grown up with TVs that were in this aspect ratio, essentially, right? So my favorite is when some of my older customers for the first time do video, right? And they hold the phone sideways, and when you look, when you're on their phone, their face is like this, holding the artwork, you know, and you get a laugh at it. You get a laugh at it, and it's like, you know what? This happens. It happened. You learned. Let's get on with it. But yes, we teach you, you know, all the way through, all the way along, and you know, there's a huge community that's all going through it together at the same time.
Okay, so we're talking. You're going to help us with productivity and stuff like that, how to produce it, and you're going to also teach us or help us have good content. I mean, I don't even know where to begin.
For sure. No one does early on, and that's why, like, you know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall, right? Practice. And so we essentially have Zoom sessions like this 5 to 6 days a week, 50 weeks a year, where we're just in teaching it, talking about it, showing great examples, talking about how we're going to do it for a sale, talking about ideas. And then we have a private Facebook group that all of our customers are in. Everyone kind of encourages each other, posts their wins, bounces ideas off each other. The landscape photographers huddle together. These types of painters huddle together, and, you know, at a macro, at a micro. So that's really helpful too. But yeah, the whole thing is just like, you know, what do you learn after the fact, right? Like, okay, great, your art's up on a website. Who cares? No one has a website problem. It's what happens after the fact, and that's really the secret sauce of what we do.
So now in this video thing that we were talking about, do people also do like short classes, like 30-minute classes, or
we have everything under the sun. We have literally everything under the sun. You know, yes, we have people that are teaching classes. Yes, we have people that are doing classes on Zoom. We have people that are showing their process. We have people that are just being themselves. We have people that are doing reveals. Like, the reveal is like, you know, one of the most popular. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but where you painted the thing and then you show the back of the canvas and you're like, oh, you know, that's a huge thing. But yeah, we have everything imaginable under the sun. But going back to my earlier point, it's like 50% of it's the work. 50% of it is what makes Teresa Teresa. Is she a dog person or a cat person? Is she a foodie? Does she like working out? Does she live in Vermont? You know, is she Republican, Democrat, religious, not religious, whatever it is. So you have to show a little window into what makes you tick, what makes you unique, what gives you your creative perspective, right? Because we're all just looking for commonality. Like, what are some things that I could bond over that I would maybe want to have a chat with Teresa about, right? So those are all the types of things.
Okay. Well, I mostly live in my studio, so.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Teresa. Yep. Hold on. Harmony, don't worry. I see you've got your hand up. I know you got a follow up. I usually like to prioritize the first time questions, then I will circle back, though. Don't worry. Okay. Yeah. Amanda's asking me, hey, I'm going to repost this question. Got it lost. And I unmuted you, Amanda. I'm looking for prices. Are a year services for a month or a year. You could certainly ask. I should probably, Teresa, will you tell Amanda what the prices are? That's how like disjointed from what the prices are that we actually charge. Because you've just had a demo, right? You've been through it all. You could tell her what the packages are.
You mean the stuff that I got yesterday or day before?
Yeah, you might as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I mean to get to be part of the community.
Yeah. No, trust me. She knows better than I do because she's talked to my team more recently than I have. I stay out of their world. I don't even want to know what it costs. What does it cost? Teresa.
Okay.
I know the broad strokes, but she knows the specifics.
Okay, do a little sales pitch here. There's the bronze, silver, and the gold plans. Okay, so the bronze is it's usually $27.49 one-time fee, and then there's a discount, of course, that I think you've all probably know about, and so 1 year would be $16.99. 2 years would be $16.80. 3 years is $25.20, and 5 years is $42. Okay. Now there's another thing that they're doing with the Jumpstart package that we got here, and a year-long. Let's see. Yes.
And we should say the Jumpstart is doing. Don't even get into the Jumpstart yet, because I don't want to confuse people. The Jumpstart is doing the marketing. The broad strokes, Amanda, are everyone compares us to a website company. Okay, just like a website company, we charge a monthly fee for the website. I think it's either $49, $59, or $69 a month, depending on what bells and whistles you get. Okay, great, fine, websites. What you pay for is a one-time fee for the army of people that are going to be teaching you how to do this for the rest of your natural-born life, and it's not a small army either. Zoom sessions 5-6 days a week, all the support staff that you can get into a Zoom, get video help 5-6 days a week, all the education, all the constantly updating the educational material. We're part website company, part postgraduate university. That's what it is. And we teach our customers to market year in, year out, year after year after year. So it's
$50-ish a month plus some
like
kind of one-time
basically like a
fee. It varies
fee
from $2,500 to $4,200. That fee is like or
we got
I'm
a bunch of
we
have a bunch of like salesy things that they do where it's like, get a 5-year deal and your monthly is only this, or get like a 3-year deal and your monthly is only this. But the easiest way to think about it is there's a one-time fee that you pay. Once that's done, then it's just the monthly fee of the website. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like $50-ish a month.
Yeah. But the reason that we're way more expensive than everyone else, that's not even close, is that we know if we don't have successful customers, we're going to be out of business. Everyone's going to sign up and then they're going to leave. And so that's sort of been our journey and been our evolution. It's like, okay, how do you do that? It turns out the only way to have successful customers is to teach them and get them marketing consistently. So unless you do that, no success. So there's a bunch of other stuff that we do, but that's what we do. And it's, it's funny because it's part DIY education, part in-person classes, part accountability, which is probably more important than all the rest of it. Why haven't you done anything, Amanda? Why haven't you shown up? We're all running a sale right now. Why aren't you doing that? And then, like I said, it's part bribery, light and mild harassment from myself and members of my team going, let's go, guys. Encouragement. Like, it's hard. Being an artist is like a solopreneur. You don't have any support staff. You don't have anyone else other than your significant other usually, or your mom, right? And so ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And everyone quits on the downs and then doesn't do anything for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and another year goes by. And then they get invigorated. And it's like, okay, New Year's resolution time. They're going to the gym 4 days a week in January. And then March comes around and it's like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So the encouragement, the coaching, the accountability, I'm not kidding, I think is just as important as anything else that we do. It's a weird thing. It's a really hard thing to articulate. But does that answer most of them? You muted yourself again, so I'm going to unmute you again.
All right, I'm good. Sorry, yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm undervaluing anything you do. Mm-hmm. I just was curious because it's not super transparent.
No, it's not even close to transparent. It's not even close to transparent. There's no pricing
I just wanted
anywhere.
to figure out if I can afford it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I do value what you do. I understand all the value you bring. Yeah. You're worth what you're charging. I just don't know if I'm making enough money to yet take that jump.
For sure. Totally, utterly, completely valid questions. To be honest with you, I want to publish all of it on the website. It's kind of like an internal battle that we've had, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. I've lost, and so now we have to do this lame demo button. But you should get a demo regardless so that you understand the pricing in and out, and you get to see all the bells and whistles, the behind the scenes, all of that. And then you can decide if and or when it's right for you. And then subscribe to the podcast. It'll help you.
And when you sign up, like let's say I had 100 pieces of art do I send that to them and then they just plug that all into their, when
Yeah,
they make the
so
website?
is it digital art? Is it art that needs to be photographed? How does that all work?
It's already been photographed.
It's already, yeah. So all you do is
because I
you
have
just,
some like licensing deals with it, but
yeah.
I wanted to use it as a ground to start the website and then continue to make more work for Q4.
Yep. So all you do is you put those images in the folder in a Dropbox that
Mhm.
we set you up with, and then we take care of everything else. So we build the website, we put everything on, put the titles in. I mean, you have to pick your prices, right? And what media types you want to offer, but we have strong recommendations on how to do that, how to handle the markups. But yes, we build the website for everyone. No one's allowed to build websites with us anymore because it is a waste of an artist's damn time, right? None of you guys
It is
need
what
to
it is.
learn web programming or searching forums or HTML, GoDaddy, CSS, or any of the rest of that nonsense. Not happening anymore. So again, we need to figure out how to make successful customers, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Thank you, Patrick. This has been really awesome. I have to go to another meeting, but I really
no worries,
appreciate
Amanda. Thanks for coming.
learning.
Yeah, and Betsy's like, guy, it feels so fishy and sharky. Trust me, I know. I don't like it, you guys. I don't like it. We are technically SaaS, right? Software as a service. And what most people do in SaaS is make people go through SaaS. Software as a service just means subscription software service, right? And there's an entire peer of companies just like us that use the demo button. You fill out the demo button and then you talk to somebody on the phone, and that's just how we do things, right? So that's what I would say. And Betsy, I don't have to like the process, but it's working for us as a company. We're growing. We have incredible reviews. We have over 10,000 customers. A lot of them love us very, very deeply. So it's not hiring someone to help us make it better. It just sort of is a thing. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, look, if you're like this, I don't care. That feels fishy to me. I don't like it. Trust me, there's no worries. No worries. It's not gonna hurt my feelings in the slightest. Like, we bust our ass and go above and beyond. And I don't even know of other companies in which people that run the marketing departments or CEOs come on 3 days a week and have Zoom calls where anyone can come in and ask any question. Like, in terms of transparency and trying to be there, we might not do things the way that you like it, but we feel pretty damn good about the way that we do things. And I don't mean to get defensive about that. It's just sometimes I get snappy about it. Harmony, go ahead. You had another question.
Two things.
Yep.
One, the prices that I got yesterday seemed completely different than the ones Teresa's talking about. So that felt kind of funny to me.
It wouldn't be. The prices are always the same for everyone. There's never any differences.
Well, I wasn't told 2 years, 3 years for all of that. And the $50 is not what I was quoted for per month. And I don't know, the whole thing is okay. But so I'll have to get with the rep, I guess, and find out specifically more about it.
Yeah, and don't hold me down to like the numbers like verbatim. They're sometimes running specials 1 month and it's different for another month, and then I would say what the number is, and everyone would be like, Patrick said it was this, and you guys saw. Now I just don't even tell me what it is. Talk to them, but I guarantee you have the exact same prices and you have the exact same bundling as what was it?
But they were different pricing than Teresa just said. But okay, but what I want to know is that now the Zoom is fabulous, but for me, the way I learn, I find it so fast that I cannot absorb it in order to apply it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would need like personal phone calls, texts, whatever, where I could, really get, okay, step by step, what am I to do? I say, okay, I have this idea. How do I do it? I can't do it this way. I can get some of it this way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but I'm not.
Yeah. So everyone likes to learn a little bit differently. So there's a lot of people that just like reading the written stuff and they don't want to come to the Zooms at all. There are some people that just like coming to the Zooms. There are some people that like consuming it via audio, right? There's some people that like getting support via chat tickets or emails. There's some people that like jumping into Zooms one-on-one so it can go a little bit slowly. So all of it's on offer. It's just sort of how you want to go and at your pace. That's number one. Number two, it is extremely overwhelming at first. Extremely overwhelming because the sheer amount of knowledge that we're downloading you and making you learn and making you go through, you are going to feel like you're pulling your hair out of your head. If you wanted to
Yeah.
talk to most of my like first year, second year customers, especially folks that are not super digital natives, they're going to be like, this is so crazy. The stuff that I'm learning is out of control. I mean, I've never done anything like this. And that's totally normal. That's totally normal and how it's supposed to be, right? Like, and you know, there will be big video workshops that teach you how to do everything on Instagram. And you're going to watch the video and you're going to be like, okay, I need to go back and watch that video 6 more times. And that's okay. You got the video, you can slow it down and watch it again and do it step by step, right? The important thing is that you have to learn all this stuff. Like, you know, I think like I said up front, it's like, I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know what the alternative, like,
and I appreciate that. So it's something where, you asked too many questions, that's it for the week for you. It's not like that, right?
No, so there's the big classes in which there's like 300 or 400 or 500 people, and it's absolutely like that in those classes, because if you don't stop it, one person ends up asking 16 questions about random things that only apply to them.
Oh, right.
So
right.
there's big rooms and there's small rooms. So in the big rooms it is, in the small rooms it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's also personal one-on-one as well?
Yeah, so the way that it works is like, you know, Zoom essentially has this new technology called breakout rooms, and they're essentially just Zoom rooms inside the Zoom. So you would be in here and you'd be in the chat and you're like, okay, I have some tech questions I need some help with. Can you put me in the tech room? And then you're going to get in a tech room and it's going to be you one-on-one, just like you're talking to me, without a whole audience. And they'll go through and solve everything that you have. And then you can be put back into the main class, which is one of the ways that we do it, for instance. But yes, it's not always like true one-on-one, right? And it's not always the same person every single solitary time. But yes, right. It's an extremely high level, high touch point of support. And it's like nothing our competitors even slightly offer. I mean, the fact that 5 and sometimes 6 days a week, all you have to do is jump into the Zoom session that's on the calendar and say, I need help with this, I need help with that. And you can be put face to face in a video with someone rather than reading or searching or opening a ticket. It is very nice. It's a very, very nice thing to have. Yes.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Harmony. And I promise there's no one pricing, two pricing. I guarantee you get the exact same pricing as Teresa. I mean, the only thing that we do that annoys the hell out of me is the fact that it's not just on the website. Everything else, I promise, is above board. Who else? Questions? Thought I saw a hand darting up. Yep, gotcha. Go ahead.
Hi. So I do a lot of events, and so I do my own updates on my website. Mm-hmm. So is there a pretty quick turnaround since you guys are managing the websites when I'm making changes or adding things? Is that pretty seamless?
100% there is. But however you want to do it, right? Like, we don't demand that you can't. I mean, it's your website. You own it. You've got access to it. You can change anything at any point in time for any reason if you want, or you can have us do it, right? So it doesn't matter to us. Honestly, it doesn't. What matters to me only is if you go in there and say, like, I need to customize a bunch of things 9 ways to Sunday, because that never ends up working out. All you're doing is just wasting a bunch of time. Trust me, we have a website. We know it produces very, very well. But yes, you can change anything at any time.
So I imagine then going in with a very clear picture of what I want when they're designing it, that would be the time to say, this is what I need. This is the focus, like that.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring it up. I mean, our stuff is robust right out of the box. So it has everything that you need already, which is, I mean, most website companies do. It's like, I need a page like this. I need a page like that. Okay, great. Fine. We already have all the rest of the stuff already built and ready to go. From a website standpoint, we've been doing this for quite a long time now. We know it actually works. And so we give you in all of your art a proper art gallery look. So assume that the 95% of it is done. The 5% is like, what specific needs might you have from an event standpoint that are abnormal? Like, do you have people registering for this and you need a specific different email form? Do they have to like get on a calendar to book time? So there's some weird things that might occasionally crop up there, but it's all pretty solvable. It's all pretty easy from the website standpoint.
Okay. Well, and I have books. And so some of the stuff would not be printed on demand.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't matter in the slightest. That doesn't matter in the slightest.
Okay.
Yeah, like
right.
We're completely set up to sell wall art, and we have a whole suite of features to sell wall art. but we're actually just an e-commerce store at the end of the day too. Like I've got people selling CDs and jewelry and wood carvings and sculptures and I mean everything under the sun, right? And it all just goes in there. It's a standard item, you know, or we have some sort of nomenclature for them, standard item versus you know, I can't remember what the other one, fulfilled items. So yeah, it's no problem, right? It's just like artists that have the original, like they have to ship that, right? So when the order comes in, yeah. So all good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. And yes, James, the Zoom classes are recorded, every single solitary one. I'll unmute you too. In addition to that, you can like submit your questions ahead of time, you know, if you can't attend during the day. So that's really, really helpful and get video answers that way. And then, you know, in addition to that, like sometimes I'll have customers just come onto this one and be like, hey, if you've got a question, you know, how can we get it answered, right? Like, how can we get it going? So there's that too. Yeah, you're unmuted, James. Go ahead.
Yes, I teach on location photography workshops around the Southwest area of the United States.
Okay.
Is there any kind of way to implement workshops into the web page?
Yeah, all day long. You just throw them as a standard item right in the shop, and you know, I assume they're quantity based, right? Because you can't have 500 people. Although that would be awesome if you did. So yeah, you just throw it in there. You know, make a graphic for it, and boom, you take payment right on the website. It takes about like literally minutes to set up. You know, you guys usually have some pretty awesome ammo to go with it too. So we usually recommend trying to throw YouTube video in there, you know, in the description, spice it up a little bit, show kind of, you know, the highlights of what I'm hitting, right? You know, am I hitting, am I in New Mexico? Am I in Arizona? Am I in Southern Utah? Like, you know, what's it going to be? All those kinds of things.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, James. Shar is asking, what if you already have a website? You could use your website if you wanted to. I don't know why you would. You wouldn't be here if your website was doing anything for you, right? Ours have all kinds of bells and whistles and is integrated on the back end, so it makes things, you know, really, really kind of robust and easy. So that's what I would say, Shar. Any final questions, guys, before we wrap up for today? I'm going to send you a replay of the session. I'm going to send you some links. I really want you guys to watch these two episodes, the one with Jonah, and then the second one was with Meg. You know, Meg's over the $1 million mark. She's been with us 7 years, I think. And there's just something about these interviews. Or maybe it's just because I'm so sick of hearing the sound of my own voice. And Nick, our CEO, it's just so nice to hear like some of these incredible things that these customers, sorry, I didn't realize I had to pull it up, that these customers have done. And then also, I'm going to have a bunch more of these coming up here in the future. Well, that went really wonky. So whether you guys sign up to be customers or not, you can come to these sessions, sit in on them, kind of like today, where we interview these folks. And, you know, you get to ask whatever questions you want of them. Yeah, over $1 million, mostly POD, actually. Some originals, Deborah, but I think of the $1 million, she sold $875,000 or something like that, $850 directly through her website, and then I think the rest were originals. So sometimes those sold through the website, and sometimes didn't. But I'm bringing on a bunch of these folks. Like, we have such a diverse, crazy, wild, divergent customer base in terms of things that they're doing in weird niches and weird areas and weird spots that they all have like sort of a different story. I don't know if you have a follow up on that. No, it's not Deborah. You're Dawn, right? You're Dawn, right? You don't have a mic. Yeah. So, okay. That's the answer to that. But I will send those to you. Again, definitely want you guys to subscribe to the podcast. It's awesome. You can find this thing anywhere. You know, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know, just anywhere a podcast. You just search Art Marketing Podcast and you'll find it in both the Meg episode and the Jonah episodes in there. And it's just, I don't know, there's something really cool hearing it from them, right? Yeah, the website build, if you supply everything, I think on like the super fast turnaround, they get it up in like 3 days, 4 days. I think as a push, maybe 14 days, but it's quick. It's quick. There's not a lot to do, right? Like the About Me section, you know, or your artist statement, getting all the pieces in, and then connecting it to your URL, and you're off to the races. So that's what I would say. But great session today, guys. Appreciate all of you. I want you all to have a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to see you on the inside or somewhere else. Yeah, Eddie H, someone will be emailing you guys. They answered all those questions today. So we'll get somebody that can actually do them. I don't understand all the tech ins and outs. And I think Zara was it just put. She's still new and she didn't realize that, like, you know, the little breakout rooms, Eddie, are where those are internal for our customers. I almost put you guys in there actually because we have a session running right now. But they know all that, like our tech specialists will be able to answer all those things like to a T, which is what you need. But okay, appreciate you guys all. Great rest of your weeks. Thanks for sitting through. Hope you learned something. If you have any follow-up questions, just send me an email. Lord knows I email you enough. But you can just hit reply and I'd be happy to answer. Thanks, guys.